Today, why Bitcoin isn't just a cool tech story. It actually lines up with over a century of Austrian economic thought. If you care about sound money, individual choice, and market-speeding central planners, this one's for you. Welcome back to Bearonomics. Let's dive right in. Bottom line, Bitcoin maps to core Austrian ideas. Scarcity, private money, the regression theorem, resistance to inflationary credit cycles, and spontaneous order. I'll show you how. Austrian economics values money that emerges from market choices. It resists arbitrary expansion and enables honest prices and calculation. Think Mises and Hayek. Money should be chosen by the people, not engineered by politicians and central banks. Bitcoin was engineered with a fixed supply cap, roughly 21 million coins. That's mechanical scarcity. New issuance is predictable and halves regularly. Unlike fiat, where central banks can expand the money supply at will, for Austrians who fear inflation and the distortions from expanding credit, that built-in scarcity is a massive alignment. Friedrich Hayek argued for competing private currencies, letting markets pick the best money, rather than monopolies of state fiat. Bitcoin functions as privately issued, non-state money, a real-world instantation of Hayek's idea, currency chosen by users, not printed by governments. I don't believe that we shall ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. That is, we can't take them violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is by some sly roundabout way introduce something that they can't stop. This was Hayek in an interview in 1984, and wow, was he correct. This is a big deal for Austrian theory. Hayek essentially describes exactly the kind of market-driven, voluntary emergence that Bitcoin represents. A sly roundabout way of moving money out of exclusive government control. One classic Austrian objection has been Mises' regression theorem. Money must have derived its value historically from a commodity use. Critics say Bitcoin, with no pre-existing commodity use, can meet that standard. But many Austrian scholars and analysts argue that Bitcoin does fit the regression view. Its early value came from niche exchange use, speculation, and subjective demand for a scarce, non-state settlement unit. The theorem can accommodate Bitcoin when you consider money's evolving market uses. Austrian Business Cycle Theory says artificially low interest rates and credit expansion causes malinvestment and unsustainable booms. Bitcoin, because it exists independent of central bank credit expansion, is often framed by Austrians as a way to opt out of monetary policies that create boom-bust cycles. In short, Bitcoin can be an escape hatch from policy-driven malinvestment. Austrian economics emphasizes subjective value and entrepreneurial discovery. Bitcoin didn't come from a ministry. It was discovered by coders, miners, and users who experimented and coordinated. That spontaneous, decentralized emergence is textbook Austrian. Market process selecting a monetary good over time based on individual choice. But in reality, Bitcoin isn't perfect. Nothing's perfect. Austrians also want money that works as a unit of account and a medium of exchange. Roles Bitcoin struggles with at the moment because of price volatility and adoption limits. So many Austrians frame adoption as gradual. Store value first, then wider use as volatility falls, and infrastructure as it improves, which all of these things are happening currently. From an Austrian lens, once a monetary good starts winning users, network effects make it harder for inferior alternatives to displace it. Bitcoin is neutral. Rule-based issuance and first-mover advantage give it strong emergence network effects, which is why many Austrians see it as the market's candidate for the new monetary standard. So, Bitcoin lines up with Austrian economics on scarcity, private money, resistance to credit inflation, and spontaneous market emergence. It also raises honest questions, such as volatility, regulation, and how money becomes widely accepted. If you got some value from this, drop a comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. And I'll see you in the next video.